Hi guys, and welcome to Potato Land. And I don't mean land where they grow potatoes, Idaho, but I mean where I've just removed majority of my makeup. And we are in my room where I have this is my battle station. Most of my monitors are here. Weep. And the reason we're here is because I felt like I'd probably be most comfortable here while I'm making myself very uncomfortable. Today I'm finally, while I'm turning into a potato here, I'm finally discussing what my experience was like being a potato for 30 days. I did a no makeup or makeup cleansing challenge way back ago. Seems like forever ago. And the experience was not as easy as I anticipated. It's funny because the very letter that Alicia Keys wrote in Lenny, where she's talking about her experiences, growing up and facing imposed idealistic views of femininity, is what inspired me to go ahead and take on this challenge, or to commit to the challenge, I should say, because I was actually egged on and almost challenged by somebody else saying that I couldn't do it. And throughout the experience, I actually learned why people thought I couldn't do it. Or, well, maybe they didn't cognitively understand why. They probably didn't understand what was going on through my mind or my emotions, but they had a really good intuitive reason why. I actually thought I was more secure of myself now. Because I know I did have I had a lot of rocky phases where I was really reserved to myself, kind of shy, or not shy, just uncomfortable being myself. Because I was always rather flamboyant and eccentric. The hair probably tips you off. But I guess growing up, that was kind of like a weird thing. Like, being obnoxious wasn't weird. It was being obnoxious and flamboyant that was weird. And it's a different type of obnoxiousness. The obnoxiousness that was in when I was in high school was the obvious, blatant, seeking for attention kind of obnoxious. The very obvious, like, hey, I want to get in trouble kind of obnoxious. That was considered normal. That was very normal while I was in middle school and high school. And that wasn't my type of obnoxious. My type of obnoxious was, I'm in my own little world and I don't care kind of obnoxious. Like, I had no qualms with being openly nerdy and geeky. Like, I nerded out like crazy on all things pop culture. And really didn't care. And that was viewed as like, I don't know. Point being, I got bullied and teased and I got crap for it a lot, which made me feel really uncomfortable. I did some local modeling when I was actually starting out when I was a freshman for a local couture store, like a prestigious store that bought wholesale, like market price stuff like Prada, Valentino, St. John. The store was called Jones & Jones. I did that for a while, and I worked with other girls who did it for a profession. I was doing it because my mom got me into it. Oh my god, suddenly I kind of understand just a tad bit how the Kardashians and the Jenners might feel being pressured to do things or managed by their mother. Mom, that's not an insult to you. I'm not saying that you're a bad mom. I'm not trying to compare you to Chris, but yeah. Anyway, just had an epiphany. But yeah, so I was doing this stuff with young girls who had been doing it professionally for quite some time. And they were particularly OCD about appearance, which I mean, I understand you have to have a certain, I guess, appreciation for your body. You have to have a certain diet. Got to take care of yourself. Got to take care of your skin. And I'm just barely getting into high school, guys. Like, that world was like not, my brain was not mentally ready for it. And I forgot my face cream. Hang on. Ah! Ah! Lol, leave it to me to be unprepared for a video. And I'm gonna only record this once, so no outtakes, guys. What you see is what you get. So yeah, my brain was not emotionally or cognitively prepared for the world of modeling. And it was a very, very vicious world. Very vicious. I was rather shapely. At a young age, I had curves. I mean, I was thin. I had a wasp waist at that time. And halfway through, doing this for some time, I started becoming more shapely. And I think this was before we started getting this social media shift of, fit or healthy being the new, socially accepted form. Like, it was still very much the very thin, stickly, and tall kind of model-y figure. Like, that was the ideal model. That was the idea, figure for editorial modeling and for runway modeling. And I'm not very tall. I'm 5'5", and I wasn't the, stereotype thin pipe cleaner legs, string bean limbs figure. I can only do so much to squeeze down my boobs and my butt. And at that time, that still was kind of looked at as if you had a butt, you were chubby. And there was a lot of pressure to kind of stay thin. And my mom was happy with what I was doing, and I wasn't really happy with the environment I was in. So I felt obligated because I understand my mom really risked a lot to get me to be doing this. My mom really, stuck out her neck for me to be doing this. And guys, if I start crying, I am so sorry. But this is basically what I went through this 30 days, is backtracking through memory lane and realizing, a few things that I still probably haven't fully dealt with and what I hide behind when I put on that makeup. So, young as I am, going through all this, I hated feeling like I wasn't pretty or beautiful or interesting enough, that my appearance wasn't interesting enough to keep doing what I was doing as I was, being comfortable. I had to rigidly, constantly mold myself and force myself to fit this ideal in order to keep doing what my mom was happy with me doing. And being around all these women who did it, who made it seem like it was effortless, was very, I don't think mind-numbing is even because it wasn't numbing. It was like constant agony, like a constant pain. Because I was constantly unable to fit people's molds. I'd go to school and all of a sudden I'm a wannabe show off because I'm dressing the way I'm expected to dress at work, at school. And I guess it's not really common for kids my age and growing up where I grew up to be doing that sort of work and actually getting paid for it. Like, you can be like in a club or in a modeling school or studio and kind of do it to kind of make a name for yourself, but to get paid for it was something else. And I guess like they felt like I was trying too hard or something, even though that wasn't the case. You know, it wasn't like I was trying to gain any recognition or approval from my classmates. You know, it just happened to be that, you know, I was trying to, you know, keep my mom happy. And, you know, it was just kind of frustrating that whether I was at school or at work, like, it was like I couldn't make people happy. Like, they had to, like, really, like, I guess, work around my, I guess, body shape to, like, for me to, like, walk on the catwalk during, like, DFS Devos or trunk shows. And it got to a point where I was so frustrated at the store manager getting mad at me because I didn't look a certain way or walk a certain way or dress a certain way, or that didn't fit the dress a certain way, that I, like, snapped and I'm like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And high school didn't get any easier. I wore jeans and t-shirt, but still that image of me being, I quit sometime halfway through my senior year. And I guess it was like the point of no return. So right after graduation, I kind of like had like this, like, I guess a Britney Spears moment. I mean, I didn't shave my head, but I started dyeing it all these wacky colors. And people kind of would always say, wow, I wish I was brave enough to color my hair that color. That's always weird. I still get that today, and I always still feel weirded about it. I'm always getting that, wow, I wish I had the self-confidence to color my hair that color. I like it. Because I've had hot pink, I've had different shades of blue. I went bleach platinum blonde and just shaved the whole thing. Well, not shaved, but like I pixie cut the whole thing, bleached my eyebrows out like completely to where it looked like I didn't have any eyebrows, and wore really dark eyeshadow, and I pierced my ears. I had several piercings, and I started doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff to feel comfortable and approve of myself. And I guess a part of me also liked that people were intrigued by it. They really didn't care about who I was personally, what my personality was, or what I did, or what I was, you know, going to do with my life, or, you know, they were interested in my hobbies or my future goals. It was just intriguing that I, you know, was eccentric. That was it. That was about the only thing that struck people as interesting. And I never paid attention to that. I never noticed that until recently, going through this experience, because despite not having makeup on, I was still getting that, oh wow, you can really pull off that blue. Wow, you know, I've seen a lot of people wear blue, but I think you probably pull it off the most. Like, even though they're intended as compliments, even though, like, I know people mean well, I mean, those comments made me feel uncomfortable. And I would ask myself, why is that? And then I recall Alicia Keys' letter on Lenny, where she was explaining why she decided to go bare with no makeup. And she, you know, she's talking about what it was like being a comedian. Well, she doesn't like directly say it, but, you know, she says a lot with very little. I guess that's just part of being an artist, you know, being a poet. You know, and I'm reading off the letter. She says, I started more than ever to become a chameleon, never fully being who I was, but constantly changing so all the theys would accept me. And I kind of realized, like, here I was going on with all these crazy endeavors. I learned all sorts of different makeup application techniques. So, people would be more focused on, like, the canvas that I created, than my shape. Because again, like, I grew up during that really weird, awkward social political phase, that body politics phase where we were going from stick figures to healthy curvy figures. I mean, now public's got their eyes on people like Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner and Nicki Minaj, who, have augmented and surgically defined bodies. So like, now I guess I can feel a little more comfortable. I think we're more, I don't know if it's tolerant or just more aware of, the many embodiments that exist. But growing up, there wasn't that same sensitivity, to how people exist, to, especially to the female body. The female body has had this imposed idealism since forever. You can watch like those BuzzFeed videos where they're like, or Mode TV. There's several different versions where they go through like 100 years of fashion, and in each decade, women are doing these crazy things to fit the craze or the fad of that decade. And we never really took this mentality whether either you got it or you don't. Flaunt what you got, work with what you got. We never really pushed that, for people to be satisfied and happy with what they have. And going without makeup, I kind of had to. I put myself in that situation. There was times where I seriously thought I was going to break, cave, and fail at my 30-day challenge. There's days where I woke up sleep deprived, on top of having a cold, but being sleep deprived from studying for finals, and I had bags that were I have really high cheeks, high awkward poofy cheek. I could lose 70 pounds and have sunken cheeks, but my cheeks would still be kind of high. I got my dad's bone structure, and the puffiness of my bags were just so insane. So it just looked like I had like 2 little bumps, and that was not cute in my opinion. And I just really wanted to reach for that concealer and that lip gloss and, just like start working with my face. And I'm like, you're not going to please. I had to talk to myself. You're not going there to please anybody with your face. Your face isn't going to get you your grade. You have to use your brain. I had to talk to myself. I mean, not like literally talk to myself like I feel like I'm doing by talking to the camera, but I had to really think about this. Why am I using makeup as a security blanket? And that's what it kind of has become without me realizing it. Anytime I feel vulnerable, anytime I feel, just uncomfortable, I reach for the makeup. I mean, and it could be a good thing. It could be used with the, as like a confidence booster. But I think we also have to learn how to not use it as a crutch, not rely on it and kind of build off of ourselves. I almost decided to, after the 30 days passed and I went ahead and had my fun with makeup, because there was Halloween and the Day of the Dead, which those are days that, they call for a little makeup, especially costume makeup. And I really wanted to do the whole Day of the Dead sugar skull face, and I dressed up for Halloween, and I didn't want to miss out on that fun. And then after that, in November, I wanted to start the makeup detox again, and I failed. The second time around, I failed. I don't know why. I don't know what it was, why I failed, but I did. And, my initial attempt or my initial goal was to do 60 days instead of 30 days. And I realized it again later. Well, you're doing a lot of traveling. I was going back and forth from Houston and Corpus. I was going to events. I did like the K Fest in Houston, going to big cities around other people, and I went to Chicago for Thanksgiving, and I don't know, I was gonna be around a whole bunch of strangers, a new city, a new place, and there we go, going back to what I know, going back to what makes me comfortable. And, doing a lot of late at night thinking when my brain doesn't want to shut off, and I'm thinking about, especially the theories from my disability studies class. It's actually critical approaches to disability and culture. I learned about, how the layers of our identity are, they're too complex. There's too many layers. Like Shrek. Ogre, onions, layers. This is probably something we're kind of intuitive about. We kind of know it, but we're never really fully aware. We don't really put it into practice. We don't think about it critically and apply it to our lives very often. And in this class, I was kind of forced to, think about that, regarding other people and especially myself. So when I get out of class and it's, as class ends at 6:45 and then I get home by 7:30, so it's already time to get ready to go to bed. So I'm going to sleep. The last thing I'm thinking are these, feminist theories and, these theorists, these essayists that are talking about culture and imposed ideologies. And that's the last thing I think about when I'm going to sleep. And I start thinking about myself. And I realize, okay, so makeup isn't bad. Using makeup isn't, a bad thing. It's feeling that we have to in order to be comfortable where things get gray and things become borderline, walking on eggshells. It becomes almost a bad thing. And, feeling like you have to please people or make people happy and make yourself happy. That's when it becomes, kind of a tricky situation. So, using makeup for fun or because you enjoy it, because, I understand some things are just so neat. Some things are liquid lipsticks. We've come a long way. That stuff is cool. I honestly, I love the look, especially the ones that are very velvety in texture and in their appearance. That's fascinating to me. I love velvet texture. Texture is a big thing to me. It's a stimulating, intriguing thing for me. I enjoy the looks of different textures, especially on paintings. When you see a painting that's mixed medium and they use different things, that mixture of textures is intriguing. It's interesting. So seeing it on makeup, it's the same thing for me. So I understand there's going to be some things that I just flat out enjoy, and I'm not going to be able to avoid, coloring my hair or, doing wacky stuff. I'm going to enjoy it no matter what. So I shouldn't have to feel ashamed or feel like I can't use it. At the same time, I shouldn't have to feel like I have to use it. So that's pretty much what I learned being a potato for a whole 30 days. That was my realization, going through the no makeup challenge for 30 days and then failing it the second time around. And, it's got to be a battle. Not even a battle. It's just a balancing act of self-acceptance and realizing the boundary and being okay with being vulnerable every now and then. That also shows that you have a big mind, a big openness, and a big heart. It's about being able to balance doing things for yourself because you genuinely enjoy it, you like it, and not having to do it to fit people's standards. I say people is very general because it's whatever situation you're in. My situation was comparing the uncomfortable feeling that I experienced. This is probably a sign that I should shut up. Comparing the uncomfortable feelings that I experience now as an adult to when I was going through middle school and high school, which were probably the most awkward phases for me. I was a white girl, white girl in the middle of a very Hispanic school and community. I was born half and half. I have, white dad, Hispanic mom, but the way I was brought up, the culture that I was immersed in at first was very culturally white, and WASP white. And then we moved down to the South, and deep South, border Mexico South, and it was a very big cultural difference for me. Really big. And the ideals both cultures have on women are very, very different. So that was another thing, and that was borderlining traumatic. I wouldn't say that it's completely traumatic. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm trying to underplay it. But that is something that kind of makes a person want to find something to kind of avoid those feelings again. But I think pushing myself to be vulnerable was a good exercise. It is definitely, I'm glad I did it the time that I did it, because reading different theorists like Kafer, McCruer, Siebers, they really helped in critically approaching and analyzing my own experiences and my own mental processes. So it was definitely, I if you want to do it, I say go for it, give it a shot. I definitely want to encourage you to read Alicia Keys' letter on Lenny. It's you get to, remind yourself that people who are celebrities are humans too, which I think a lot of us forget. We try to view them as infallible, as if, they can do no wrong, or that, we try to view them as superhumans. And, you get to remind yourself that no, these people are humans. They have feelings. They're every bit like you and me as, our best friends. So I really recommend to read it. If you have questions about what I was using during the video while I was talking, I'll link it down below. I was doing it more out of a way to distract myself from feeling all emotionally and tearsy. It wasn't me trying to be cool and metaphorical, although it could probably be viewed like that. It was just honestly a way for me to distract myself. If I'm talking and doing something, I won't be so inclined to overthink and get emotional and start bawling my eyes out here on YouTube. Sorry that this was a very long YouTube video, but I hope it was comforting or eye-opening in some way for somebody. And you guys, if you have any questions, go ahead, comment below. Until next time.